Hello gamers, my name is KK and today we are playing in Beta 6 and this is God boosting of the hero, one of the best heroes in the game called Etienne, the French guy, which is an alien in this run with this skin. So Etienne is probably my personal favorite hero in this day and age where we have 13 heroes. Etienne is definitely my number one because it's so good. It's very good in chimps and any other game mode, including half cash, even though I don't recommend it in the half cash. It's not the forte of this hero. However, in all other game modes, this is the beast. Etienne has very good level up balance, meaning he levels up very quickly according to the rounds. He also has camo detection right from the get-go. He can pop the lead balloons later on with the level 10 ability, and he reaches level 20 very quickly. So it's one of the very best heroes, S tier for sure. And today we are god boosting this guy. You probably didn't know, but Etienne cannot be alk buffed, and this is a pretty funny thing. And why? The reason is fairly simple, because he doesn't fight on his own. For Etienne, everything is happening because of his drones. So the drones pop the balloons, the drone find them, etc. All Etienne does on his own is just giving the coordinates basically to the drones he operates. And this is pretty funny, even though, as you can see, I'm using the Alchemist. Alchemist deals it deals damage, but it does not buff any towers overall. Basically, why I placed the Alchemist, because I need to pop the lead balloons. We need to counter them, and the Alchemist is one of the easiest solutions in the early game. And now, how are we god boosting this guy? What are the rules? What buffs are allowed and what buffs are prohibited? First, we are allowed to use any no damage towers. So any farms, villages, etc., just no damage. And now, as for the towers that actually do damage to the blimps and balloons, we are allowed to have the Perma Brew Alchemist. We are also allowed to have the 0 to 5 Ice Tower and 0 to 5 Glue Gunner. These are pretty essential because most of the heroes, I would say probably only Churchill doesn't need the stunning abilities of these two towers, but most of other heroes require the slowdown ability of these two towers, and hence why we are using them in those runs. And how do we actually evaluate which hero is good and which hero is bad in these runs? We are going up to round 120 with all other heroes as well. And before round 120, we have 8.26 million pops. And we judge how good the hero is solely based on the pops that hero himself did to the balloons. So the damage, how we calculate it. Basically, the Ice Tower and the Glue Gunner and the Alchemist can steal quite a lot of pops, and we don't really wanna this to happen. And how do we prevent it? By the very high DPS of the hero. This god boosting is basically the evaluation of the DPS, and you will see how good Etienne performs by the end. So just for the comparison, Churchill has 7.95 million record, Adora has 7.6 million record, Sauda has 6.6 million record, and Quincy has around 6 million. How high will Etienne compete with those guys, and how high will he rank eventually? You will find out by the end of this lovely video. And let's freaking begin. We're also allowed to use the MIB, and we are allowed to use the hyper boost overclocking, because this is the got boosting itself. We need to have 10 hyper boost overclocks on the hero. Also guys, remember that we can use the support towers if they don't deal damage. So if need be, we can use the sabotage supply line, we can use the nuclear sub. Why do we need the nuclear sub? Because it's one of the best support towers, even though not many players know this, but nuclear sub reduces the cooldown between the use of the abilities, all abilities on the map, by I think 20 to 30%, and it is a really solid ability which you need to exploit as much as possible. And this is exactly what we will do. Okay, and today, as always, we have some more stories for you. I'm gonna tell you my travel stories. Some of you who actually watched the earlier sessions, episodes of this series know that I've been to quite a lot of countries and I have 1,000,001 stories for you. And today we will talk about the flights themselves. So we already talked about Istanbul once, then Istanbul, the other side of Istanbul, second video, then we talked about the seas and we talked about the Petra. This time we will talk about the flights on the airplane and my experience with them, and basically this is a quite interesting topic because I've been to the different flights, different lengths, different size of the aircrafts and so much more. So let's begin. The first time I've actually flew the plane on the plane was probably more than 10 years ago, and back then it was very interesting and I really liked it. It was the flight to Turkey, to Antalya, where I live right now for the time being. Pretty interesting stuff. So I really liked it. When you are first seeing this for the first time, I know like a lot of people actually fly on the airplanes, but the first-hand experience is pretty good. I was never afraid of the flights and it was very interesting to me how everything will look, how the stuff on the plane actually look in the real life. What are the directions? What are we supposed to do? How much food do we get? What water, tea, maybe coffee, maybe what's outside of the plane? How do these things work? And what about this and this and this? And so many questions unanswered. And slowly, gradually, I got all of these questions answered, and it was pretty good experience. So, some of the first and most obvious questions. Is it what seats are the best in the aircraft? In my opinion, if you are flying the day flight, of course, near the window. But if you are flying the night, during the night, the seat near the aisle is going to be the best one because you don't need to go through the effort of asking everyone to stand up so that you can go to the toilet. It's pretty simple. And the logistics of the aircraft is pretty interesting. I'm gonna tell you the story. Oh, I just remembered one more story. It's gonna be pretty good. So, it was another flight where I flew from Toronto to Odessa, my home city, and it was the Ukrainian company, the flight company. It's called MAU. And on this flight, I couldn't fall asleep. So it's 8.5 hours flight. It was a long one. And for some odd reason, the staff did not turn off the lights completely. So usually the way I'm used to sleep is when the lights are turned off, but there was the dim light on the ceiling and they did not turn it off. It was like purple color, but it still was very annoying and I could not fall asleep. So I wondered. I decided to go around the aircraft and see what's up basically. This was my special operation, and it was basically the first thing that forced me to go for a walk was the ugly fat woman near me. I'm pretty sure we all know these ugly fat women that, I don't know why. Like, this woman was batshit crazy. Basically, I was sitting, I did not touch her, I did not make any weird noises, I did not fart, yawn, or nothing. Like, I was as good of a person as I possibly could be. I didn't even use the monitor in front of me to watch any movies because I didn't want to have the bright light for my neighbors to see. So I was like the pinnacle of the good person, of the polite person. And she always breathed like this. Something like this. It was so fucking annoying, and she fucking demonstrated to me that I annoy her. And after like 25th breath of her, I asked, "What's your problem?" She stopped breathing and she turned away. 5 minutes passes by, and the same shit begins. And I ask her once again, and the same thing appears once more. I don't know what's wrong with this woman, but probably she just wanted some attention. Maybe she didn't have the good sexual life, and I was young, and she thought that I'm very, very sexy, and she needed to put me down or something. I don't know, but this is probably one of the best theories out there. And tell me your theories, what this woman wanted from me, and why the fuck did she breathe so heavily. And so, what do we have? We have a fucking nuisance to the left from me, and luckily I was sitting near the aisle, so I didn't have to ask this, I would call her cow. Probably cow is a very polite, in my opinion, and appropriate name for this person. I didn't have to ask the cow to get up so that I myself get up and go for a walk or something. In the long flights, you can go for the walk in the airplane, but you will not want to do this because basically there are a lot of legs on the aisle, because people fall asleep and then their legs stretch and they kind of go sideways. And if you want to go for a walk in the aircraft, you will have to step above those legs, and there is basically a lot of eyes staring at you, because usually the only reason why you stand up is the need to go to the toilet. Other than that, you are in the minds of the passengers. You are not supposed to get up. I was like one of the very few people who stood up to have some exercises. And there, in this aircraft, there were two zones. Like, I'm pretty sure it was 2 aisles. It was a big one, and between those aisles there was the zone, I would say like 15 people could fit there, where they restocked on their food supplies, like the meals, etc. And when the flight attendants didn't give the meals out, we could stand there and just chill. So I met there one guy who I later did some business in Toronto. It was pretty funny. And I did some marketing, let me remember, probably the website for him. We just spoke for a while. He found out that I'm the marketing student. I was marketing student at the time. I already graduated, and he asked me if I can do X and Y. I said yes, of course, and it's gonna be pretty simple, and this is my price. Okay, let's try and do it when I go back home, because this guy was traveling to the Kazakhstan. But it was a pretty nice talk, and then he went back to his seat, and I found the flight attendants, so the guys, and we just began talking with them. It was pretty funny and interesting, because I never thought that flight attendants would act. What is the? I'm pretty sure flight attendant doesn't have the gender as the word. Okay, so these crew guys, we just talked about the Canada, about the Ukraine, like the money, the social networks, like some general topics, and it was pretty interesting to see. I usually, when I speak to the people I don't know, I try to find out their perspective on these things. I see in my way and they see in their own way. It's always a pretty interesting stuff, and I found out some new things. It was very good. They were friendly, and I also got a lot of extra water because basically they were bored, I was bored, and we helped each other, and they helped me out with some bottles of water. So we spoke for a while, and then I went back, and look, there were two guys. Immediately when the girl came by, we shifted the topics from the guy topics to the neutral topics, and it became much less interesting. And then I got what I wanted. First, I wasn't bored, and second, I got the extra water I craved for in the beginning. And this is the story pretty much. It's pretty interesting experience to meet the new people this way. Just go to them and speak to them. It's as simple as that. And try to be friendly. But don't be friendly to the cow, because cow, if you are friendly to these nasty people, they will fuck you up. So be appropriate to them. So don't be very rude, but don't be sweet to them either. Okay, back to the Etienne. So Etienne won all 120 rounds with the score of 6.6 million pops. The interesting thing is that the score is pretty much the same with Sauda. So there you go. Pretty interesting stuff. Etienne, as I already mentioned, one of the best heroes, and very, very enjoyable one, because on the level 8 it gives camo vision to all the towers on the map, and you can use the stronger cross paths that don't have the camo vision of the different towers, and you chill. Okay guys, press the like or dislike button right now, depending on what you think about this video, and see ya in the next one. Subscribe now.